Welcome to Eye on Horror, the official podcast of iHorror.com. This is episode 152, otherwise known as season 8, episode 12. I am your host, James J. Edwards, and with me, as always, is your other host, Jacob Davison. How you doing, Jacob?
I'm doing I'm doing okay. Just October's been kicking my ass.
You sound terrible.
You know, just
No offense.
I think I've got an allergy attack.
Oh, sorry about that. Well, let's move on to, so you don't have to talk too much. Let's move on to your other host, John Correia. How you doing, Correia?
I'm doing all right, back from Vegas finally no longer living in a casino, so that's nice. I'm starting to recognize what is daytime, what is nighttime, what is time in general. So, starting to feel a bit like a person again.
Cool. What's been going on this week? The big release this week is Black Phone 2. You guys see it?
Yeah, I saw it at Beyond Fest a couple weeks ago,
Oh, cool. I
and I
saw
thought
it.
it was awesome.
Yeah, I saw it a couple of days ago. It is not as good as the Black Phone, but it's a completely different kind of movie. Um, it's weird because it functions as both a sequel and a prequel because it picks up a couple of years after the Black Phone, and Finney and Gwen are they had to do it a couple years after because the kids have grown up, so it makes it a more natural because they're more like young adults now than kids. Um, but it more focuses on Gwen, and she still has her dreams, and her dreams lead them to this Christian youth camp where there are basically more dead kids that are reaching out to her. So there's a mystery to be solved there, which of course has to do with the grabber and his origins. So it's like a sequel and a prequel, but it's a different kind of movie. It's more of like a mystery than a pure horror film. So it's not as pants poopingly scary as The Black Phone, but it is still very much a Scott Derrickson movie, like very much.
And I do love the shift from the grabber being just a serial killer to going full Freddy Krueger and attacking people in their dreams.
Yeah, he's very much a Freddy Krueger. There's one scene in particular that is it goes past being a Nightmare on Elm Street homage. It's a straight ripoff, but I feel like it's like a loving ripoff. Like Scott Derrickson had to know what he was doing with this one scene because it is so Nightmare on Elm Street.
The proper term is homage.
Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. But it goes past homage. I mean, it's almost. I mean, it's a quote, just about.
Also, I do like the winter setting, the because like the previous movie was set during the spring and this is the winter, so have a lot of the snow elements to it, which a lot of horror sequels have attempted, but this is, I think, one of the first ones to really kind of pull that off. And without spoiling too much, ice skating is involved.
Yeah, a big part of it is this mountain.
Christian camp.
Yeah, this Christian camp that's on a lake. So there's a frozen lake, and there's it's it's a good time. It's not as good as the Black Phone. I wouldn't say I was disappointed in it, but the Black Phone I think is a masterpiece. One thing about Black Phone 2, if you I watched the Black Phone the night before I watched Black Phone, and you really need to have not just have seen, but have to freshly seen the Black Phone in order to fully appreciate Black Phone 2 because it leans really heavily on the first movie, like the mythology. So it doesn't really spoon feed you what happened in the movie before. You have to already know. So luckily, most people who are interested in Black Phone 2 probably have already seen Black Phone. So it's
Well, I mean, you kind of have to see the first Black Phone in order to see the Black Phone 2. It's a progressive.
yeah. But I'm saying, if you need to kind of have it fresh in your head. But it
That too.
I mean, if you're into the Black Phone, I mean, it is a good logical next step, and it almost seems like they're trying to franchise the Grabber because, even though another spoiler alert, they defeat him again this time, but did they? I mean, he's more of a supernatural entity now, and not like he's not like Buffalo Bill. He's like Freddy Krueger now. So, will
He
he
could
be
come back
back?
again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and honestly, I'm fine with it. I mean, the thing is, it's Ethan Hawke again, but aside from his voice, you can't really tell because when parts of the mask come off, they have this massive makeup job underneath it that is like, because he's dead,
Yeah, so he's a corpse.
yeah, he's like Jason in part 6. He's like, so, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, I really liked it. I had a good time with it, and I thought that their uh spin on the sequel was pretty fun. Like at the Q&A for Beyond Fest, C. Robert Cargill, the writer, was saying that Joe Hill was the one who kind of gave them the inspiration for the sequel, and saying like, what if the grabber called Finney from hell? And it just kind of went from there. And yeah, I had a fun time with it too. Like it did kind of feel like the logical progression from the original, especially with the character arcs, and kind of adding the even more supernatural elements with the grabber being a ghost himself this time. And I'd still argue that Black Phone 2 is pretty scary. Like again, yeah, the Nightmare on Elm Street-ish sequences. Like there's some pretty intense scenes where the grabber is attacking people while they're sleeping, but also like he's kind of an invisible ghost, so he can just like fuck people up and they won't even know where he's coming from.
Derrickson plays with typical like horror camera tropes a lot. Like, he does that thing where like the camera will move, and as it moves to the other side of the character, there will be like a dead kid or it will reveal something.
Yeah.
But then there's a couple times he does that when you're expecting it to be there and it's not, and you're like, oh, okay, now I see where you're setting us up. I mean, he's a master. He's one of those low key masters where like he doesn't get mentioned in the same breath as like Flanagan or Jordan Peele or anything, but Scott Derrickson's he's one of the up and comers too. I mean, if you can call him up and coming, because
I mean, he's been at it since
Sinister was like 15 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, I was also going to say Exorcist of Emily Rose.
Yeah.
But no, he's been very consistently good, especially in that regard. So yeah, no, he's solid.
He took a detour to do Doctor Strange, but
yeah,
but who didn't? I mean, that was the point where Marvel was giving every up and coming filmmaker a movie, and some of it was good, some of it wasn't. Speaking of under the radar movies, and this is kind of jumping ahead because this technically was a Screamfest title, but I didn't see it on Screamfest. I saw it on Paramount Plus. Have you guys seen Vicious?
No.
Oh my God, Vicious. First of all, it has a terrible name because it's so generic that I wish that they had named it better. This is two of my favorite things. Brian Bertano, who did The Strangers and The Dark and the Wicked and The Monster, and Dakota Fanning. And this basically, this is more Dark and the Wicked than The Strangers, but basically this woman brings this box to Dakota Fanning, knocks on her door, and the beginning of her pitch is, you're going to die unless you put 3 things in this box: something that you hate, something that you need, and something that you love. So, Dakota Fanning's like, okay, whatever, but then she starts realizing, okay, there's something to this. And if she fakes it and doesn't put, something that she really hates or needs or whatever, it won't take it. It's like you put it in the box, you close it, and when you open it back up, and if the thing is still there, nope, try again. You're not actually there. And at one point, like the first thing she puts in this box is she puts her cigarettes in there as something that she hates. And at first I thought, I'm like, you know what? This is too soon for this, because I thought that could theoretically be all 3: something you hate, something you need, something you love. And if it was a short film, hey, game over. But the box was like, oh, try again. This isn't actually what it is. And it leads her to some really dark places. The things that this box wants from her are pretty messed up. But it's just such a dirty little, I mean, maybe it's not renamed, maybe it's not poorly named because it's a vicious movie, but I feel like the name is so generic that it's gonna get forgotten,
That's better than calling it the box, though. That's even more generic.
Been done too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know Jacob and I have been spending a lot of time playing the same video game. We've actually had it in our hands for a minute, but I've already played through once and currently playing through with Lindsay. The new Dead Reset from Wales Interactive, the company who does a lot of those kind of choose your own adventure-esque video games with live action, which is right up our alley. I mean, we've already had choose your own adventure on the show this year, and we've talked about our love for Night Fright? No, not Night Fright. That one interactive game. Anywho, Dead Reset. What'd you think, Jacob? I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun. I haven't beaten it yet, but I played for a bunch of it, and yeah, no, it is kind of like what you were saying that it reminds me a lot of those old FMV games. Night Trap. The game was Night Trap.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's basically like you're playing a movie. So like you do all these different choices and it plays all these different scenes and it can affect the outcome of the game. It does really get you into the game.
Yeah. If you guys don't know about Dead Reset, first of all, it is like a movie. You have actual actors. It's that are playing out the scenes, and the story follows Cole Mason, an amnesic surgeon who's trapped in a time loop. And basically, when he comes to the first time, they're like, you need to perform surgery on this woman and hold him at like gunpoint. And when he does, there's like an alien creature thing inside of her. And the choices you make can restart the time loop or progress the story. It all depends. And there's information revealed depending on your choice. And also your choices influence how people react to you and interact with you. It's really interesting. Lindsay and I love playing these type of games. We play The Quarry and Until Dawn often. And sometimes with those games, they put too much interaction into it. And so it kind of like takes you out of the story a little bit. Cause there's times where it's like, oh, you got to run. But also kind of a character hasn't died in a while. I kind of want to make this choice, And so it's nice to kind of have it be boiled down to choose one or the other choice. But there still be so many branches. I can't imagine how many times they reshot scenes for this. Like, I want to see what the map of footage is because it's insane the amount of like choices and branches you can do by making these two choices and still have like all this influence on the game on how it plays out. But it's a lot of fun and it's bloody too.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of extremely violent deaths and creature effects that kill people in really gory ways. So it is definitely horror. Even honestly kind of has a bit of a Dead Space vibe to it. And they do a lot with a little.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun. We're doing a playthrough right now where Lindsay and I take turns making the choices, and I like doing that because it's fun to be like, wait, I wouldn't have done that. Why'd you do that? So
I'm sure it shakes things up.
Yeah. So Dead Reset, it's a lot of fun, and it's available on just about every platform. I know Jacob and I were playing on PlayStation 4, but it's also on Steam, Next Gens, all of them. So check it out.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere.
Cool. Another thing that I saw, which I am not sure if I'm breaking embargo or not, but I don't care. I'm going to talk about it. I saw Frankenstein, the new Guillermo del Toro
Mm.
Yeah, I'll be seeing that in a few hours.
I'll be interested to see what you think of it. It is long, um,
Oh yeah.
and and it feels long. That's the thing. It's 2.5 hours, and it feels like 4 hours. Um, it's a beautifully made movie, which you would expect from Guillermo del Toro, but I feel like there needed to be an edit in there somewhere because there's not really dead space, but I had issues with the pacing. There are lulls in what goes on, and you're like, this this meeting could have been an email, kind of a thing. Um, it's more. I mean, he took some liberties with the book, but the monster, which is Jacob Elordi, the monster is more. It is more like the book than we're used to seeing because the monster is actually he's kind of intelligent. He's like a child, where like he gets born and then you've got to then he's learning things. And as he learns, he gets more and more cognizant and he realizes that basically Victor Frankenstein, who's Oscar Isaac, was playing God when he created him, and he kind of resents him for it. So it's a little bit of philosophy there, but it's kind of a double edged sword because it's a really well made movie, but the pacing is it's glacial in places, which is kind of funny because there's a lot of ice in the movie. but yeah, it's definitely a GDT movie visually because it's kind of got that steampunk thing happening, and yeah, it's an experience. I'm hoping that for awards voting, Netflix usually sends out these big boxes full of swag with their movies, and I'm hoping I get one for Frankenstein. I'm hoping there's some good stuff that comes. I will trade my coffee table book of The Irishman and Roma for one about the art of Frankenstein because I think it's going to be a pretty cool. It would be a cool coffee table book. But yeah, it's I'll be interested to see what you think of it, Jacob, because I think that you're gonna like it, but I'm wondering if you're gonna have the same issues with pacing as I had.
Mm.
Well, I'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, no, I'm literally seeing it in just a few hours over at the Egyptian.
Mhm.
But no, I've been very excited for this. Like, I know Guillermo del Toro is a massive Frankenstein fan, to the point where when I was visiting his exhibit at the LACMA Museum, that he actually owns an original first edition copy of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah, that is.
That's
is
awesome.
That thing's going to be worth a fortune.
is it signed?
Maybe.
That would be incredible. Yeah, you can tell that he has a respect for the story, even though there are some liberties taken with it. You can tell that he wasn't setting out to make a pure horror movie like James Whale was with the original Frankenstein. It's more of like a gothic tale with horror elements.
Mhm.
Right.
It's not particularly scary, but it's more. It's kind of like what Shape of Water was for Creature from the Black Lagoon. This is for Frank. Except it's not modern. It's a period piece,
Mm.
but it's kind of like that all the themes and the main skeleton of the story are there. But it's I struggle with it because it's a beautifully made movie, but there were parts of it when I was just looking at my watch going, okay, can we get to some more stuff happening?
I mean, it sounds more like in tune with what the actual book is, because I mean, the original book is more gothic tale and like ideology. I mean, there's entire chunks of it where it's Adam, the creature, just droning on, which is great. But if you're going, yeah,
he does that. It's almost like there are some because it's divided into two Victor's tale and then the creature's tale. And at one point, because Victor's tale tells like the creation of it, and then when it escapes and you want to know what it's been doing until The whole thing is told in flashback. At the very beginning of it, there's this ship that's like iced in, and the crew is trying to free the ship, and then they see off in the distance there's a fire, so they go and investigate, and they find Victor, and they bring him back to the boat. But as they're bringing him back to the boat, the creature is like attacking him because the creature wants Victor. So they get him on the boat, and he tells his story. And then the creature shows up, and because all he wants is Victor, he doesn't want to hurt these sailors, even though he is, because he's trying to get to Victor, or to because he's trying to get to Victor. So when he gets there, and he's like, okay, let me tell you my side now, so, and he is very wordy and articulate, which is, something a lot of people don't know that the Frankenstein's monster is, because he has a brain, but it's like a child and he has to learn. But there are times when you're just like pining for the James Whale Frankenstein. You're like, oh dude, shut up and let's get on with this movie. Because he talks, he talks a lot, but hey,
that's the book.
That's it. Exactly.
So I'm looking forward to it. After a century of Quiet Adam, I'm looking forward to the droning. One thing, well, I should say two things because these are both shorts, but it's kind of the state of the industry right now. There's two horror shorts that were released that have major advertisement tie-in with it. One is, have you guys seen Fruithead?
Oh yeah, I saw it. The Gushers commercial horror short.
Yeah,
with Bradley Whitford.
Yeah, dude. So if you guys don't recall, there was these Gushers commercials in the 90s where kids would eat a Gusher and their head would turn into fruit and they'd go rascal. And so Gushers commissioned a 10-minute short film where Bradley Whitford plays the director of those commercials, and he's like, I need it to be more realistic, more. So he uses a spell book to craft this gusher that actually turns a child's head into the fruit head, and which leads to this horrific scene of this kid eating and then going, oh, what's happening? It's not right. And you see Bradley Whitford with like his little fucking terrible facial hair and ponytail, like typical director look. Stereotype
in the 90s,
and he's like, that's not the line, as like the kid screaming as his head's turning into fruit. And then one of the designers comes up and goes, hey, our department just did this with this new thing called CGI. He goes, oh, that's great, let's do that instead. And then years later the kid comes back to seek his revenge on Bradley Whitford with the fruit head. I thought it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's a 10-minute commercial for Gushers, but it also it feels like like one of those like Too Many Cooks type things where it's like, hey, remember this nostalgic thing? Well, we twisted it and are having fun with it. But it was commissioned by Gushers, which I think is fun. It's a fun thing for them to put money in. What'd you think, Jacob?
I thought it was really funny because, especially for like the stuff is trying to be scary and playing all these tropes, it's at the end of the day, like you said, it's a Gushers commercial. So it is just such an absurdity to it that even though it's kind of disturbing, it's also really funny because, it is playing off of that nostalgia. And again, just a crazy ass situation with, the kid who got his head gushered going full of the strangers on Bradley Whitford in his Hollywood mansion. Yeah. It's just so funny.
It's so good. There's like some weird stuff where Bradley Whitford's character is like struggling to eat fruit and he's got gloves on and stuff. Like it gets real weird, and I appreciate that they really went for it. And like the entire time it does have that layer of like, Gushers paid for this. This isn't like someone like that other fake commercial thing where it's the kids turning into like the silver stuff from the Capri Sun commercials, that horrific internet video. But yeah, they really went for it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's on YouTube. Highly recommend it. It's 10 minutes. It's a fun time. The other one that I watched was Sweet Revenge, which is also available on YouTube. It's it's the first thing made out of the Jason universe, because I guess they sorted out the rights with Jason, and now they launched a whole thing called the Jason universe. And the first thing they made is a 16-minute Friday the 13th short film It's directed by Mike P. Nelson, who did the Wrong Turn reboot a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
And also did one of the VHS 99, VHS 89, 80, bleh,
85.
VHS 85 titles. And it was done in partnership with Angry Orchard, and it definitely was made in partnership with Angry Orchard. It's not like they were like super egregious with like showing like, oh man, like it's a group of it's a Friday the 13th story. A group of teenagers go to Camp Crystal Lake for vacation, and Jason crashes the party. There was really interesting implication, or like how do I say it? There was really interesting ways that they incorporated the Angry Orchard brand. There's like some really weird bits with like the people who own the cabin and apples that was like weird and uncomfortable. And then of course, whenever they're partying, they're drinking Angry Orchard. But outside of being a commercial, because it is, at the end of the day, Angry Orchard paid for it. I thought it was incorporated pretty well, that it wasn't distracting. But as a Jason short, it feels like a fan film. And I don't know if it's just because it's as like a reintroduction to this iconic character, or the fact that we've seen so many fan films come out over the years while the rights issues were being resolved. But as like a Jason shows up and kills a bunch of campers, it's a fun time. I was really surprised on how the score was. It's very 80s, very all that, and did have kind of a moment of like, when are you going to do it? When are you going to do the Kiki Mama stuff? And when it happens, it's the right moment. So it's a lot of fun. That one's 16 minutes. Hey, you got a half hour, you can watch both of these. But they're both interesting because that's kind of where the industry is now. No one's wanting to pay for anything, at least on the distributor sides of things. And so I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of this kind of sponsored content being more integrated into the stories and everything. And, there's some pros and cons to that. But if at the end of the day, having Angry Orchard be incorporated into Friday the 13th leads to more Jason kills, I'm okay with it. Always down for more Jason.
Yeah, and it sounds like we'll be getting more of him in due time.
Yeah. I need a 13th Friday the 13th feature. Like, just do it, you cowards.
One thing that we have all been kind of watching, and I alluded to a little bit earlier with Vicious, is Screamfest. Is it's that time of year again, and we have all been kind of flooded, I should say. In fact, this is probably a part 1 of 2 because I know I'm not
to talk about.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about and a lot to watch, and I know that I'm not through. I'm not through even half of the screeners that we got. So
we have a wealth of movies to choose from.
Yep,
it's such a first world problem. Oh no, we have too many horror movies to watch and review.
Yep. But let's start off with Dead by Dawn.
Yes.
Did you guys get to this?
Yes.
I did get to that one.
This is Jacob.
I was gonna say I want to hear what you think of this, Jacob, because this movie has you written all over it.
Okay, Dead by Dawn. I will put a pin in that.
Yeah, let's. This movie is. I mean, it's like it's almost like a giallo, but it's more I don't know. It's weird. It's like got that. It's shot like a giallo, but it has a more modern killer. I feel like, and I loved. Where have I seen that killer design? The killer is like, where's this mask of like all these eyeballs, and it looks so familiar. Where have I seen that before?
So for some context, Dead by Dawn's a Polish film, and it's about these group of young actors who are summoned to a theater to bring this like avant-garde like dance play to life. And there's a killer on the loose in the theater, and
The theater is cursed. The theater is like haunted, kind of.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's one of those like this building was built for rituals and like all this stuff, and like it's the killer, yeah, it has this mask and it's covered in eyeballs, which is very I still haven't seen it. I've owned like 3 copies, but Delirium, I think it's called, where it's has the person where the head is one giant eyeball. That's what it kept reminding me of, at least.
Well, that's the Residents, that band, the Residents.
Yeah, or the Residents, yeah.
But what it reminded me of is what was that Channel Zero, not Channel Zero, that creepypasta TV show where
Channel Zero.
Channel Zero.
Was that the season that had the teeth guy?
Channel Zero with Candle Cove.
The Candle Cove. The teeth guy. It reminded me of the teeth guy, but with eyeballs. That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
it's really But I've seen that somewhere before.
Yeah,
and I can't put my finger on it. The whole time I was like, what is that mask referencing?
no,
but yeah, this movie it goes pretty. You know what? All of the Screamfests that I've watched so far, they all go really hard.
Hard, yeah.
Dude, there are entrails all over these movies, and this one is no exception. These kills are bloody and brutal, which is more the Giallo thing, I think. But this is
Dead by Dawn was a lot of fun, dude.
No, I got to watch that one. I'm putting it on my to watch list.
Yeah.
Move it up to the front. This is very much your shit. It's
like the first 2/3 of it is very I kind of want to say it's like post new metal cinema giallo slasher. And then the third act just goes absolutely bonkers, because it's almost like, because this whole time, because and we say giallo a lot because there's a lot of color with the lighting, a lot of like very stylized with it, and black gloved killer and all that. And then like the third act, it's almost like the movie remembers, oh yeah, all that ritual shit that we set up early in the movie, let's get into that. And when it does, that's when it really hooked me. I was like, oh, we're getting into what I really want and love out of this stuff. And yeah, it goes for it. It's a lot of fun. I thought it was really interesting, especially incorporating the stuff of the avant-garde play dance into the final act that the actors were doing earlier in the film. I thought was really cool and interesting. Very much so invoked Suspiria a bit with that. So yeah, it's a nasty little movie, and I had a lot of fun with it.
I'll have to check that out. On my end, did either of you guys see Big Baby?
No, that's on my watch list.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, this one was a lot of fun. I was drawn to it specifically because it's the latest film from Spider-One, who some of you may know as Rob Zombie's brother, but who's been making a lot of horror movies the last several years. Like his most recent one was Little Bites, which was produced by Cher, because Chaz Bona was involved as a producer and actor. And it's the same with this one. Big Baby was produced by Cher and also co-stars Chaz Bono. And I think this might be Spider-One's best movie yet. Yeah, so basically it's about this horror screenwriter who just had a movie out. Forget the name, but it was like this werewolf movie, but like that he has to deal with the fallout because like all these horror podcast douchebags are shitting on his movie, and what really gets him is like one of them tells him to kill himself, and he goes into kind of a depressive spiral with his girlfriend, and then he starts getting these nightmares as a stroke of inspiration about this giant hulking dude with a screaming baby mask called Big Baby, and talking about how he's going to kill all the people who did him wrong. And he starts writing the script, and he thinks that it's his best work yet. But then he starts seeing Big Baby in real life, and he starts seeing the murders as though they're real. So it becomes kind of a metafictional slasher movie situation. But yeah, there's a lot of gore, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. And it does kind of play with a lot of the horror tropes and even a lot of kind of horror community and the current landscape of horror media and reviews. So I thought it was very fascinating in that regard. Um, yeah, no, I do highly recommend it.
Nice. Adding that to the top of my list. Another one that I think is right up Jacob's alley is Dooba Dooba. Have either of you
Dooba Dooba.
did either of you watch Dooba
No, I haven't
Dooba?
seen that one yet.
Oh man. Dooba Dooba it's a great title. Dooba Dooba is it's an analog horror film. I think there's going to be a lot of people comparing it to Skinamarink because of its analog nature. It's not as ethereal, I want to say, as Skinamarink. Skinamarink was definitely, I don't know, that was on like another plane of existence. But Dooba Dooba, it follows this babysitter who's hired to watch over this 16-year-old, which already is like, that's a bit too old to have a babysitter. And it's as the night goes on, more is revealed on like what happened. So like the 16-year-old, the reason why she's getting a babysitter is because she's still reeling from her brother being killed while she was in the same room as him. And so the family have all these CCTV cameras all over the house. And it's too many cameras, I would say, with because the filmmakers definitely were like, all right, that's the premise, that's the reason why it looks and is the way it is, but like those cameras were everywhere and such weird angles and usage with it, which I loved, because it's like, oh yeah, let's give you barely enough information on why it looks, or give it enough justification for the look and placement of this, but they just went crazy with it and I loved it. There's also a lot of like weird and interesting cut-ins with like what looked like early Microsoft movie editing with like transitions and stuff. And like, it's like you're watching the tapes just like record out. And so there's random inserts of like, TV, like presidential stuff. I don't know. It's really weird. It's very atmospheric with its analog nature, and I had no idea where it was going for most of the movie, which I enjoyed, because I was like, I don't know what's about to happen next, or where is this going. And it's a fun little nasty number. So yeah, Dooba Dooba, Jacob, again, I think it's right up your alley, because it really does give that like SOV feeling of like that kind of punk rock nature that comes with like SOV.
I can dig that.
Or
Cool. Another one that I watched that I'm gonna butcher this name. It's from the Netherlands. It's Vleerstag. It translates to Meat Day. And it is about this revolutionary group who they're like animal activists, and they go to this pig farm, and they want to go and release all these pigs. They want to liberate the pigs. But the owners of the pig farm are tipped off to the fact that they're coming. So when they show up there are no pigs, and they kind of went into a trap, So it's kind of like you have the animal activists against the slaughterhouse. It's a family owned slaughterhouse. And honestly, neither side, there are really no heroes in this movie. Both sides kind of come off as assholes. So and like Dead by Dawn, there's a lot of just entrails spilled all over the place. And it's there's one scene in it that is very reminiscent of Apaches. That you'll know it when you see it, Correia. But yeah, it is there's just like blood and guts and gore spilled all over the place. And I mean, I guess one of the animal activist girls is kind of the heroine, but even she's not that likable. You're not really rooting for her to die, but you don't care. You kind of are like, okay, let's see, on to the next one. Let's see some people die. But it has kind of a hostile vibe in more ways than one. There's like, in fact, there's a couple places we were talking about Black Phone 2, channeling Nightmare on Elm Street. There's a couple places where this actually, I think, channels Hostel. I think the filmmakers, they had to have been aware of the Hostel references to this. But yeah, it was it's Veerstag or something. It translates to Meat Day.
Is it Meat Day or Meat Kills?
Meat Day is what the subtitles said, but I think in IMDb it's Meat Kills.
Okay.
So I don't know. I don't. Although I should know Dutch by now because another one of the movies I watched, Jimmy. Have you guys gotten to Jimmy?
No, no, that one came in when I was like, oh, I don't have enough time to watch another screener, but I was really
yeah. Jimmy is really short too. It's like 80 minutes or something like that.
Nice.
Jimmy is another one from the Netherlands, and there's this guy named Jimmy who went to a mental asylum and he killed himself, and all of his schoolmates and friends who quote friends who kind of drove him crazy they start dying in horrible ways. So it's kind of a slasher movie, but again, all three of these movies that I have watched so far, they're really bright and neon. I'm wondering if that's like a trend from these Eastern European, or Northern European countries now, because Poland and the Netherlands, we're getting these like bright neon colored movies coming out of there. But yeah, Jimmy is, and again, Jimmy goes hard. There's these movies, and maybe it's just the three that I've happened to watch so far. They spare no expense on the effects, and they look like they're all practical, which is beautiful. I mean, they're when they cut someone open and their intestines spill out, you can tell that blood's really running down that actor. It's pretty good.
No, I love it because I was just the other day bitching about how we don't like things anymore. We don't, it's all kind of that digital post where everything's too dark, especially when it comes to horror. And so it's really refreshing being able to see things happen, and not only just see things happen, but like people kind of going back to that like stylized, like, you know what, it can be bright as fuck at night, and it still registers in like the viewer's brain that it's nighttime. Like, it's okay to see everything, guys. We still know it's nighttime. Like, come on.
But better to see more than to see nothing.
Yeah. But yeah, so far, like the Screamfest titles that I've seen have all been bangers and nasty little fuckers, and I'm having a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll definitely be reviewing a lot more over the next few episodes.
Nasty is the perfect word for them because these movies are all just
Screamfest should be called Gorefest.
even Vicious, which it technically it's a Screamfest title, but it's Paramount Plus. That one goes pretty hard too. Like I say, it's more dark and the wicked than The Strangers, and I'm going to leave it at that. But if you've seen Dark and the Wicked when you're watching The Vicious, you'll know exactly why.
Absolutely.
And as an aside, I did actually attend Screamfest in person for a day, and I went to a demo demo video of the new Hellraiser game, Hellraiser Revival. Have you guys heard about it?
Is it another 4v1 game? Because they've been doing that a lot with
No.
games.
It's not like that.
Okay.
It's a one-person game, and it's kind of a direct continuation of Hellraiser, and Clive Barker actually co-wrote the video game, and Doug Bradley is back voicing Pinhead, and it does look very interesting. Again, they showed like the first half hour of gameplay footage, where it's basically you're this guy who's in a BDSM relationship with this woman who has found the puzzle box, and mid-coitus she opens the puzzle box, and as these things had happened, the Cenobites show up and take her into the labyrinth, and you start showing up in the labyrinth, and it's just wild because like the first 10 or 15 minutes of the game, you're naked and running around the labyrinth from Hellraiser 2, and you're seeing like the engineer, and sometimes the Cenobites pop up, but then it does do an interesting twist, and then you go back to the real world. You kind of go back and forth, where it turns out she stole the puzzle box from this cult that worships the Cenobites and are like sadomasochistic freaks who like to torture people and get tortured. So there is some action elements and some people you can actually fight. So you got to like fight your way through these guys in this underground torture club, but then you also sometimes end up back in the labyrinth. And there is kind of an extended, not really boss fight, but like chase sequence where Chatterer, the one with the teeth, is coming after you, and you're running through the labyrinth, but the labyrinth keeps changing, and the Chatterer teleports. So you have to go back and forth and back and forth, and it's very hectic. Yeah, so it got just a taste of what the game would be like, but it does look like a lot of fun, and it looks very disturbing and gory as fuck.
Yeah, that's so interesting because as soon as they're like Hellraiser game, it's like, well, how are you going to do that? Is it just puzzles? Because I don't know if you guys remember the Saw video games back in the day where it was basically like, the God of War button, timed thing.
Yeah.
And, it's always tricky because when you're adapting like a horror movie like that, the best parts are the kills. But in a video game, you're trying to avoid being killed. But also Hellraiser is very like rich in mythology and like you got me with the story. That sounds really cool and interesting. But I definitely, when they first announced, I was like, so is it a 4v1 thing? Is it a Doom type game where you're fighting?
Yeah, it's kind of a Doom thing. It's first person perspective. Also, I'd compare it to like Resident Evil 7. Survival horror, but first person. And no, there's death and gore by the score, rest assured.
Yeah. All right. I'm stoked. I know we gotta go soon, but I gotta mention Tron Ares before we dip out.
Yeah.
Did either of you watch it?
Nah.
So I was lifelong Tron fan. I definitely went in going like, I just need some Tron action. I need a slutty ass Nine Inch Nails score, and I need Gillian Anderson. That's all I need because I was already, not looking forward to Jared Leto in it. And I gotta say, it delivered on all those. It's very much so. It's a Tron movie, in almost every respect of it, good and bad. And it's absolutely serviceable. It's fine. The problem is Jared Leto. Not only him as a person, but also just anyone could have played that character. He was so wooden and really just kind of ruined what was a perfectly fine Tron movie. There's a really cool sequence where they go into Kevin Flynn's backup server, which is where you get your Jeff Bridges cameo that they've teased in the trailers and all that. But the whole world is in that classic, like the first movie, very 80s with the graphics, and you have the one bite character going, yes, no, and everything. And it's really cool. And like immediately I was like, all right, we're in this. And then it just cuts back to Jared Leto and he goes, classic. And it's just like, come on, dude. There's a whole thing where they're showing him kind of like develop or like talk about having feelings, which programs shouldn't have. And he's talking about Depeche Mode and how he loves Depeche Mode and how it's giving him feelings. And I've never heard someone describe their favorite band and what it does to them emotionally so cold and wooden. It immediately filled me with rage. I was like, take Depeche Mode's name out your mouth. Like, don't try to ruin it. And the second time they did it, I just full on threw my arms up in the air. It was just like, fuck off. But yeah, I have to say, not since West Side Story was like a lead actor so miscasted and just completely derail what otherwise would have been totally just a fun movie, So yeah, Tron Ares. I mean, it's serviceable, but Jared Leto really fucking ruined it.
Cool. And on that note, we're gonna get out of here. More Screamfest to come. Like I said, This was a part 2. There might even be a 3-parter because there's a flood of stuff.
So much ground to cover, so many gore, so little time.
Yes, so much blood, so little time. But for now, we're gonna leave you. So our theme song is by Restless Spirit, so go check them out. And our artwork is by Chris Fisher, so go check him out. And you can check us out on all the socials at Ion Horror or at ihorror.com, which is the site we call home. And we will see you in a couple weeks with more Screamfest. And I think we got a cool interview coming up, but I don't want to jinx it, so I'm not going to say more. But yeah, stay tuned. We got good stuff coming up. And everybody go see Black Phone too. So for me, James J. Edwards.
I'm Jacob Davison.
And I'm Jonathan Correia.
Keep your eye on horror.